It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
Boom! Here we are, live, Alico Building, Central Texas, Rogue Media Studios. My name's Scotty Swingler. Don't worry. Pete is hosting most of this show, but we got to kick it off here in Waco. Pete is on the road, and man, there's a few things I wanted to address right here up front. But let me tell you, first of all, what we got coming up on today's show. First of all, Pete and I will make our NFL picks for the weekend alongside all Indiana sports. Kevin Hall, that's a weekly segment we enjoy doing. Stay tuned for that. But then we are going to spend most of today talking about this game of the week. Red Raiders hosting the BYU Cougars, number 8 and number 9, Cougars and Raiders, respectively, in the college football playoffs initial poll. Both these teams situated where, man, everything is in front of them. If they take care of their own business, they are in the college football playoff, which would be a huge step for both programs. There is a path, in fact, where both programs could see themselves in, but it starts with this weekend. Undefeated BYU against one-loss Texas Tech. The students and the fans in Lubbock are going nuts over this game. College game day. I can't wait to see how Pat McAfee handles the day. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have Joey McGuire with us. He talked with Pete Sousa for Inside the 12. We've got that here for you in just a few minutes. And then Jake Hatch of Locked On Cougars. We love Jake, one of the best in the business. He'll come tell us how BYU is preparing for this game. We might even ask him a little bit about some BYU basketball. Now, a few things I wanted to reflect on as we get started. We talked yesterday about the Alex Rodriguez documentary coming out on HBO Max, Alex versus A-Rod. And boy, when it dropped at 8 p.m. Central, I was tuned in. You guys know I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of documentaries, but I waxed poetic a little bit yesterday about how I fell in love with baseball and fell in love with the Texas Rangers largely through the signing of and the play of Alex Rodriguez when I was in elementary school. And man, episode 1 of that doc drops last night. It kind of ends with Alex's time in Texas. And it took me back, man. It took me back to watching that guy play and really insightful primarily on this guy didn't really get an opportunity to go through becoming a young man in the way most of us do. Most of us, we get through high school, we get out of high school. I think Pete would probably not mind me saying he had a similar journey to mine in this way. We get to college and it's like the whole world's at your fingertips, man. You've got more friends than you'll ever have for the rest of your life in a lot of cases, at least in proximity. You've got more opportunity in front of you. The world is just wide open for you, and it's really easy to be dumb and reckless. And I was dumb and reckless in my own ways. Pete has shared on this show how he was dumb and reckless in college. And Alex Rodriguez did not have the opportunity to go be dumb and reckless in college and learn how to be a man. He was drafted number 1 overall into the majors as an 18-year-old, and then within 2 years was living up to that. You know, you forget, like we think of LeBron as a guy who had these expectations placed upon him in high school and then has lived up to it, right? There have been very few, there's very few comps to this because you don't get drafted out of high school into the NFL. And so, I don't know, maybe the NFL comp is like Peyton Manning drafted number 2 overall and kind of living up to it. I don't know, but like, man, the pressure placed upon this guy at 18. And I was struck by the people around Alex and the influences in his life and how they affected him. And something that was really staggering from last night's episode, and you should go check it out, of Alex versus A-Rod on HBO, is Lou Piniella, who was the manager of the Seattle Mariners when they took A-Rod. And A-Rod came in with an outstanding team. They talk about it. You know, Ken Griffey Jr. Was the star on that team. Randy Johnson was pitching for that team. And so Alex Rodriguez walks into a really healthy environment. Lou Piniella just raves about him and how great of a kid he was, but also how hardworking he was on the baseball field. And he was a perfectionist. He wanted to be the best, right? And Ken Griffey Jr. talks about how good of an attitude Alex had and that he could just be a kid in those first few years with the Mariners. And it really created an environment for him to grow. And where he went wrong was when he became A-Rod, right? That's kind of the premise of the doc, is like when Alex became A-Rod, the superstar, the guy who was paid a record-breaking $252 million to go to Texas. Something clicked and something changed. And Lou Piniella said something staggering. He said, man, I wish he could have stayed in Seattle because we had his back and we would have watched over him and we would have taken care of him. And it's funny and odd and heartwarming and also kind of depressing to hear Alex's first manager and that first organization where it seems like things were mostly healthy for him before things got toxic later, to come along and say, man, we would have watched over him and we would have taken care of him if he had stuck around. Now, that doesn't mean that A-Rod would have been a perfect character or would have avoided the performance-enhancing drugs. Who knows what his career might have looked like had he stayed in Seattle rather than going to Texas and then New York. But it is an interesting thought exercise. when Alex Rodriguez was with another superstar underneath a manager who seems to have genuinely cared for him as a person in a really healthy organization at the time in the 90s, the Seattle Mariners, things were looking good. And then he says it himself, A-Rod does, that when I went to Texas, that's when Alex started to I lost Alex and I became A-Rod. And that's when his life took some turns for the not so good. I'm getting choked up here because I know what I wanted to talk about. The A-Rod documentary, along with a couple of events of the week, caused me to really reflect on the best and worst of humanity. At our best, we care for one another, we look out for one another, we support each other. And at our worst, we turn inward and we become self-centered. Or, on the other hand, we think that nobody looks out for us and nobody wants our best. Sometimes those things correlate. With A-Rod, I was watching last night and wondering, man, did he really, because his father left, they talk about his dad leaving when he was 10, and his lack of relationship with his father. It's really sad. Did that create something in A-Rod that said, I have to look out for me and nobody else is looking out for me? When in reality, he had a whole organization in Seattle that was looking out for him, and Lou Piniella, who talks as if he loves him like a son. And did that lead to some of A-Rod's downfall? I don't know. At our best, to talk about a good story from the week, we look like what BYU fans and really now the college football fans have looked like as a whole to support the Ortiz family. If you weren't with us a couple days ago, I told Pete this story. This is kind of the story of the week for me. Ivan Ortiz started a GoFundMe. His wife, pictured here, Maddie Ortiz, was struck by a drunk driver, is facing procedures and recovery, as she recovers. And Ivan is a single provider for his family. Maddie was a stay-at-home mom. And Ivan posted this link to the GoFundMe, and some BYU fans kind of picked it up and retweeted it and shared it and said, hey, BYU fans, let's give to this. Oh, Ivan's the barber for the Texas Tech football program. That's the part I failed to mention just a second ago. He is the barber for the Texas Tech football program, and he's a barber at a studio as well. And some BYU fans picked this up and said, hey, let's support this Texas Tech kind of adjacent family. And when I told Pete this story, they had raised about $70,000. Today, I just opened the GoFundMe. They are at $167,000 raised. A lot of that money given by BYU fans. Obviously, a lot of that money coming from Texas Tech family. Kirk Herbstreit made a big donation early in the week. And I'm so touched by the goodness of humanity and the countless number of people who've given to Ivan and Maddie and don't know them and have never met them, but see a tragedy and see a family in need and want to support them. And if you want to give to support Ivan and Maddie, I think you could be part of this incredible story. Just type in Ivan Ortiz GoFundMe or Maddie Ortiz GoFundMe. It's gofundme.com/F/help support Maddie's road to recovery. You can find it. It's also all over X. And I was really touched by that this week, the goodness of people. Lou Piniella saying, man, I wish A-Rod had stayed in Seattle. We would have watched over him and had his back. The random acts of kindness given to support the Ortiz family. And then I'm struck and disheartened, and I wanted to share personally with you for a few minutes. And then we'll get to Pete and we'll get to the sports stuff of the week. But I want to honor Marshawn Nealon and what he went through. And, this was kind of breaking as Pete and I were live yesterday. And then Matt Mosley and I on the Mosley Show discussed it at length yesterday. I shared this a little bit when John Brink has passed over the summer. But without oversharing, without making you uncomfortable on this Friday, I've been in situations in my life where I was convinced that there was nothing left ahead, or where I was convinced that there wasn't actually anybody who would care if I were to disappear. I also want to share that as we've gotten to know each other through the Pete Sousa show, whether this is your first time watching or you've watched for a long time, I went through some things last year in 2024 that really made it look as if I didn't have much left. And I was really afraid and facing some huge obstacles ahead. And I can say honestly, and without making this about me too much, that I can relate to Marshawn, at least in the feeling of feeling like there's no way out and wondering if you could take matters into your own hands for the worst. And I'm here as a living testimony that I just want to tell you, if you're there, if you're in a similar place, or if you've been in a similar place, there are people who care about you. And there are people who will, as Lou Piniella said about A-Rod, have your back. There are strangers in the world who wouldn't just give money to Ivan Ortiz, but who might step up and help you if you ask. And so my journey over the past year and a half has looked like asking for help, therapy, medication, career changes, family changes. But can I tell you that, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I wondered if there was anything left for me ahead in life. And now I get to be a dad. And it's the best thing I've ever done in my life, is be a father. And it was worth it. It was worth it to push through the heartache and the pain and the obstacles and the fear to get to be a father to my little girl. And God used people like Pete Sousa and others to step into my story and encourage me and keep me afloat. And so I hope that wasn't too vulnerable or too triggering for anybody watching, but I just want to say, if you're hurting, ask for help, find your people, and I promise you there's something on the other side of your pain that is worth pushing through. You have reasons to live. I found mine on the other side, and I still hurt, and I still go through some of these things. I still struggle with depression. I still need help. I'm still getting help. So I don't want to promise any of you, if you're hurting, an overnight fix. But what I do want to promise you is there's a reason that you're still here, and we need you here, and someone needs you here. Maybe a lot of people. And humanity is better with you in it. And there are so many good people in the world who will step up to love you and support you and help you if you're willing to ask and to listen and to receive it. And it's hard. It's hard to ask for help. It's hard to admit when you're hurting. It's hard to admit when you're lost. I've had to do it in bigger ways than you can imagine in the last year. And I'm glad I did, because now I get to be a dad, and I get to work in sports, and I have new friends and new experiences that will make me a better dad and a better man and a better person. And it was worth it. It was worth it. And I so badly wish Marshawn would have known that it was worth it to push through the hurt and the fear and the pain to whatever was next, because it would have been worth it. So yeah. Again, part of why I like working on this show with Pete is we're really honest. Pete's been through some stuff in his life, and he shared it here and elsewhere. I'm going through some stuff in my life, and I hope I get to continue to share it, because we're all in this together, especially as men. If you're a man watching, dude, it is so easy to buy into the BS and to just lock everything out and not ask. And I'm begging you to ask if you're hurting for help and to seek help. If it's me, you can reach out to me. I'll help you. I'll find you help if I need to. I'll coach you through it. I'll root for you and support you and encourage you. We're all in this together, human beings. And whether it's Alex Rodriguez's ups and downs, whether it's fans from BYU supporting a Texas Tech family, or whether it's the weight we feel of this tragedy with Marshall Nealand. We've all got way more in common than are different, and we can all do this together. And I want to be here for you, and I want you to be there for whoever needs you in your life. And I promise there are people. I promise. So, man, that's it for the heavy stuff. Let's get into it. When we come back, Pete Sousa, Kevin Hall, myself will make our NFL picks for the week. Then we've got Joey McGuire, and then we've got Jay Catch. It's a great show for you today. I hope you enjoy. It's the Pete Sousa Show live from Central Texas, coming back after this break. Stay with us.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble does bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
The Unstable Pick 6 with Kevin.
Welcome back, Pete Sousa Show. Scotty Swingler, Pete Sousa, and Kevin Hall. It is that time. Welcome, Kevin, for the Unstable Pick 6. Kevin brings us some picks that they're doing on his All Indiana Sports podcast. Pete and I compete against each other. We're going to see who knows more NFL football. What's up, Kevin?
What's up, guys? All right, you want to take a look at last week's picks?
Love to.
Remember, 2 weeks ago, Pete was 6 for 6. So we'll see how y'all did this week. Okay, so you both picked the Ravens, and Lamar was back, and so were the Ravens. And
Easy
the Dolphins coach is still on drugs, I believe. So that happened, and then the Patriots beat the convincingly bipolar Falcons, and you both picked that one. And then you both picked the Packers over the Panthers, which looked good on paper, but womp, womp, womp. Yep. And then Pete picked Houston, and Scotty went with the Broncos, and Scotty got that one done. And then you both had the Lions, but another quarterback came back and kind of invigorated his team again, and so the Lions lost that one. Vikings won. And then Scotty, you were right, is the regular season, so the Bills will beat the Chiefs, and that's what happened. Sorry, Pete, on that.
Addendum to this segment, this part of the segment, we just have, you can just say Scotty went 7-1 and Pete went 7.
No, that is not what happened, because
but you can say like however we did.
Scotty did.
Oh wow!
I convinced him with the Colts, and then they laid an egg. They laid down 6 eggs.
No, he blamed it on you. He did. He said, "Kevin talked me into taking the Colts,"
and I always will.
I a little caveat here. We did talk about this. You can go back on our channel and watch our whole recap. But 6 turnovers for the Colts, and they only lost by a touchdown. So be that whatever it may be.
So just ignore the 6 turnovers, everybody. It didn't happen. It's fine.
Exactly. It's a bump in the road, or it is the new normal. Wait and see on that one. So the records, I am 31-23 on the season, and Liam is 33-21, up 2 games on me. And Pete, you are 17-15, and Scotty's back up a game, 18-14. So there you go on that. Okay, headed into this week, a little reminder. Liam and I, you can go back on our channel and check out our picks of these games, but we only picked 2 of these games the same.
Okay.
So these could be divisive games. Speaking of which, Sauce Gardner to the Colts, maybe divisive. We talked about that too. Okay. Ravens at Vikings. I have a name for each one of these games. This is the clash for purple supremacy. Pete, let's start with you.
Baltimore.
Ravens it is. All right.
Lamar Jack.
What's
He's
that?
Back. Lamar Jack.
Yep. He is back. But so is J.J. McCarthy, Scotty.
Let's not pretend like J.J. McCarthy and Lamar Jackson are the same person. Baltimore.
All right. Both on the Ravens there, even though it's in Minnesota. Okay. Next game. This is the duel for second in the division between the Jaguars and Houston. In Houston, Scotty, who you got?
No, the Texans just lost a close one, but I think they have found their mojo. Jacksonville missing Travis Hunter. I'm taking Houston.
All right. Pete?
Jaguars.
All right. First different one there. This one I'm calling the Tom Brady Bowl. It's the Patriots and the Buccaneers at the beginning of the season. Raise your hand if you had this one as a potential Super Bowl matchup.
No.
Exactly. All right, Pete, what do you got?
I got Tampa.
All right. Bacon with Mayfield.
Yeah, they're going to destroy him.
All right. Ooh.
I will tell you, Kevin, I have a rule this season that I am not picking against Baker Mayfield, but this one was awfully tempting.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm going to stick to my rule and also pick Tampa, but I do not think they're going to destroy him. I think this is a heck of a game.
I think it's going to be like just a sobering moment for the Patriots. Not going to define the rest of their season. I just think they kind of come.
I think Mike Vrabel is proving he's a top 5 or 6 coach in the league.
Yeah, he is.
I don't think he needed anything to prove that. I think that the greatest travesty that Tennessee ever did was letting go of him. And that's coming from a fan of somebody in that division. He made that team tough no matter who was on the team or not. And he's doing the same thing with the Patriots. We said that it's Drake is kind of doing very Tom Brady kind of things with no-name receivers. So the next one.
You've compared J.J. McCarthy to Lamar Jackson, and Drake made a Tom Brady. We
got to word.
Slow down here.
Part of the
slow down here.
I'm noticing some similarities. That's it. Okay. Next, it's a really great game. I'm calling this one the battle for the best in the West. It's the Rams at the 49ers. We are going Scotty first on this one.
Rams,
and that's it. Nothing about Purdy being back, maybe?
Rams.
Okay. All right.
I say the same thing. Rams.
All right. Sounds good. Moving right along. This is the no school like the old school brawl. Steelers at the Chargers, Sunday Night Football. This score made me 9-6, but who knows?
I like the Steelers.
Pete. Steelers for Pete.
Yeah, I'll go with the Chargers. Cross-country trip for Pittsburgh, and I still like the upside and Jim Harbaugh at the helm. Give me the Chargers.
All right, awesome. Different there. And then I'm going to call this one the Reggie White debate.
Oh!
The Eagles at the Packers, Monday Night Football. I figured Pete would like that one, but we're going to start with Scotty. Also, the Eagles are wearing the black helmets, and they're 2-0 against the Packers in the black helmets. Scotty?
This is the hardest game that you gave us to pick, I think. Man, Green Bay, you said
I need pads in this helmet.
Yeah, you look ridiculous. Sorry, you said Atlanta might be the bipolar team in the NFL. How about Green Bay with performances like this past week and their performance against the Cowboys was pretty bad too. Sometimes they look like the best team in the league. And I still don't know what to make of Philly. I think I'm going to go with Green Bay at home, but I don't feel great about it.
All right, Pete. What are we doing? Oh,
no pads in here. I can confirm. No, I'm taking the Eagles. I'm not betting against my Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles on the road. Even though all signs point to a Packers victory, we beat their ass last year in Brazil. We'll beat them in Green Bay. Doesn't make a difference.
There you go. He picked against them one time in this segment. Never again, right? Okay. Yeah. Very good.
We'll play them on the moon next. That's what I said. And beat their ass. Is that it?
I think
that's it. That's all.
What's going on with Sophie Cunningham? She was at the any Sophie Cunningham or Caitlin Clark update?
The CBA is done. It's expired, and
it's not expired. They got a 30-day extension.
Okay, so I mean, they got 30 more days to do what? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like at this point, I feel that the next move is for Unrivaled to come up and snatch everybody out.
No, it's not going to happen.
Well, there also seems to be nothing happening for the WNBA at this point either.
We got to get pads in here. All right, we'll get pads in here by next week, or we won't. The Pete Sousa Show. We'll be right back.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Stability.
We welcome in Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire. Coach, thanks for joining us. Huge game this weekend. How you doing?
Man, thanks for having me. Appreciate being on the show. Doing good. You know, we had a good Tuesday. It's crazy around here right now. I mean, I bet there's 1,000 tents wrapping around the stadium. I walked out of here last night at 9:15. My truck is probably 40 yards away from the front door, and I got in my truck at 10:46. So that kind of tells you how many pictures and autographs and all kinds of stuff that I did, because our students are jacked up for this game.
Coach, we want to dig into that game in just a second, but last night the first round of the college football rankings come out, and the Big 12 has 3 teams in the rankings, and not just 3 teams, but the Big 12 has all 3 teams ahead of anybody from the ACC. From your perspective, what does that say just about the health overall of the league?
Yeah, I think it's pretty incredible, the level of football that's being played right now in the Big 12. You know, and again, I was biased last year. I thought that we should have gotten 2 in. You know, I thought BYU should have been in the playoffs. They beat SMU head-to-head at SMU. And so hopefully people are seeing that the Big 12, we play great football every single week. You're going to have somebody knock somebody off just because I think there's great players and then there are great coaches in this league.
Well, Coach, you talk about the great players and coaches in this league. Your team has displayed great balance on both sides of the ball. I mean, your defense ranked in the top 5 in the country, your offense putting up points per game, top 5 in the country. Can you speak to that balance a little bit and how you've been able to lean on that to such great success this year?
Well, you know, even before the transfer portal opened last year, I felt like we won the offseason from the standpoint, you know, we added 2 brand new coordinators, Shield Wood on defense and Mac Leftwich on offense. And, man, I just, through the interview process with those guys, man, I just fell in love with what they wanted to do and their thought process and what they believe in. And then we added some great players, and we were able to get some great players to come back to Texas Tech. And we talk all the time about complementary football. And, you know, there was a quarterback at Baylor, Nick, I might screw up, Nick Florence.
You got it.
I heard him talk to our on a Friday night. He talked about how they always, it was almost like if you got 3 and out, offense, go thank the defense. Like, you know, we talk about all the time, hey, if we give up a score on defense, then you got to answer a score with a score. So it's this complementary football, and our players have bought into that. I mean, they talk about it. Like, before I ever get to them, they're already talking about, hey, thank the offense or thank the defense for what they're doing.
Coach, you talk about winning the offseason and the pieces that you brought in, and there's been so much made of the talent acquisition from this offseason specifically, but a lot of teams bring in great players. Can you speak to not just that you brought these players in, but the buy-in and clearly the culture that you've built in Lubbock and the success that you're getting out of those portal acquisitions?
Yeah, I think it says a lot about our culture. I think it says a lot about our staff. Man, whenever I say our staff, I mean our trainers, our strength staff, our nutritionists, our sports therapists, our administration. It says a lot about the building as far as the facilities that we pour into these players. And one thing that we try to do is we try to be the same every single day, no matter what's going on. You know, they're going to get the same coaches. They're going to get the same support staff around them. And they know how much we care about them, so that there's a huge buy-in. And, you know, I think, man, I'll tell you, I learned this a long time ago. I mean, whenever I was in high school, I remember DeSoto going undefeated in our district. And when we were at the all-district meeting, we were voting for the staff of the year. And there was another team that was a kind of traditional losing team, and a lot of people wanted to put that staff up for coach of the year. And I appreciated what they had done. But I don't think people account for when you have the amount of talent you have and it's new, and being able to play at the level that you're playing at, it says a lot about the coaching staff and the entire staff of bringing this group together and the chemistry and care that we have for each other.
I think one of the scariest parts about Texas Tech is you're only getting more and more cohesive by the week with all these new parts. And now you take it into an undefeated BYU matchup. We knife through all the excitement and the hype for this game, and we get down to football. What do you guys have to do to win the game on Saturday?
Well, first, Kalani's my dude, man. I have so much respect for him. I think the culture that he has built there, like I said, man, I tried as many times as I could voicing that I thought he should have been in the playoffs last year. You know, the one thing we have to do is we got to be extremely physical. We're playing this is a big boy game. Like this is going to be, you know, who wants to play football the most. BYU's extremely physical. You know, they're taking the ball away at a high rate. They're a +10 on the year turnover margin. We're a +8. So it's going to come out, you know, it's one of the oldest stats in football, you know, who wins the turnover battle. And I think that's going to be a big part of it. So, you know, we've got to understand this is going to be a really close game. It's going to be a fight for 4 quarters, and we got to be willing to be the first to the fight. And, you know, like I tell our guys, if you're first to the fight, you got to be the last one standing. And, man, we got to be able to do that on Saturday, because this is a really good football team. You know, the one thing I can say about the CFP with the Big 12, if it ended today and BYU and Tech were in the playoffs right now, then they would be right, because BYU deserves to be in the playoffs. We just got to go make sure that we're as deserving and we take care of business on Saturday.
Coach, you talk about this being a big boy football game and toughness needed. How about the toughness out of your quarterback, Baron Morton, he's been around for forever. He's had injuries in his career. He's been banged up some this season, but a big game a week ago. And how important is he, not just as the player that he is, but the toughness that he shows for this team overall?
Well, you know, the one thing I told him a couple of weeks ago, whenever we were talking about him playing against Oklahoma State, you know, and I felt like that we could win that game with Will and Mitch. And one thing I told him, I said, man, whenever we get in big games, he's kind of my security blanket. You know, he's the one that at least lets me take a deep breath and say, hey, we got a shot, because I know Baron is going to lay it on the line. I know how much he cares about this locker room and this team and this university. And man, when Baron is as much as possible in a clean pocket, man, he's as good as anybody in the country. And so it's going to be really big that we keep that pocket as clean as possible, let him be him, which is a really talented, tough quarterback, and good things will happen on Saturday.
A heavyweight fight going down Saturday in Lubbock. Number 7 BYU against number 8 Texas Tech. You can watch at noon Eastern time on ABC, preceded by College Game Day. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
You bet, man. Thank you, guys.
Wreck 'em. That's right. That is Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire, and we are going to step aside and come back.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. At TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, Your Bank for Life.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Sousa to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Sousa. That's SOUSA. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Welcome back. Pete Sousa Show. We got Jake Hatch, Locked on Cougars, coming up here in just a second to tell us about BYU as they walk into this huge matchup this weekend against Texas Tech. However, first, I want to tell you, Underdog is not just something we run an ad for. It's something we play, and I do it just about every day. I want to show you my picks for college football weekend and let you know why Underdog is awesome, because here was the pick, and I showed this to you yesterday, right? Here is my Underdog submission for the weekend, and I want you to know I already missed on this top pick. Owen McCown only threw 1 touchdown last night. So in a normal gaming app like this, that would just kill this whole submission, right? But now with Underdog, I did the flex pick, which means that if Fernando Mendoza has higher than 1.5 touchdowns passing, if Bear Bachmeier has higher than 34.5 yards rushing, and if Josh Hoover has higher than 229.5 passing yards, I still win money. So my picks are not lost, but if you haven't played yet, forget about Owen McCown. That happened last night. But these other 3, I think, are solid. You can lock in those 3, play along with me. I was looking earlier. There's also some good college basketball picks for tonight. If you want to go Darren Peterson for Kansas, that's kind of a trendy pick right now, over on points, or I think over on 3-pointers made tonight for Darren Peterson and Kansas might be a good submission. I'm definitely going to be looking on Saturday and Sunday morning to see what they've got for that Baylor-Washington matchup. I will be in Foster Pavilion Sunday night to take that in. But anyway, play Underdog. It's a lot of fun. Use that promo code Sousa. They'll give you a bunch of bonus cash to go with your first deposit. Free money to play Underdog. And remember, on Underdog, you make picks and you win money. Let's go to that interview. Pete is going to have Jake Hatch, Locked on Cougars. Here it is.
The host of Locked on Cougars. And no better time to have on Jake Hatch. It's never a bad time, I can promise you that. But then ahead of one of the biggest Big 12 football games in almost a decade. Jake, if BYU wins this football game Saturday, what are we talking about Sunday morning as the reasons why?
They ran the ball despite LJ Martin being clearly not 100%. He's expected to play in this game, but if they can get anything out of him, that's better than nothing, obviously. And also, Bear Bachmeier just did it again. This kid's been absolutely incredible. He's been nothing short of an absolute star as a true freshman, and he's going to have to step up big time if BYU is going to win this game.
Now, BYU's last win was a huge one, a road win at Ames, Jack Trice Stadium, where they had been 0-5. They came back to win that game, which was, I think, a signature victory and moment for Bear Bachmeier and the entire team. But, they did have to come back, right? What do they do this week to get out to an early start and keep Texas Tech on its heels? Because if Texas Tech gets ahead, that could spell doom for anybody. They can pin their ears back, come right after you. Shale Woods will dial everything up. So how do you stop? What do you have to do early, should I say, to keep Texas Tech at bay?
You need to get a lead if you can, because to your point, whichever team can get a lead in this game, then you can kind of sit on it a little bit. The biggest thing for BYU is starting fast. They cannot afford to have a slow start like they did in Ames. They had a slow start there. There's a lot of slow start in some of these other games. Colorado, for example, earlier this season. They've come back and won those games, but this Texas Tech team, you mentioned it already, they are a completely different animal that BYU is going up against.
Have you heard anything interesting coming out of BYU about how the bye week went, why it was important? Was there any like special exercise they did? Like, what have you gleaned from that off week? Anything?
A lot of guys rested up, because if you saw the player availability report, no Jack Kelly, no Isaiah Glasker, no Ciale Acera, who all were carrying multiple injuries going into that Iowa State game. So that obviously that served them well. They're getting guys like Raider Demooney back, who was a really, really phenomenal piece until he got injured his ribs midway through this run they just had. So the biggest thing was getting guys healthy. And the way things looked as guys walked off the field on Tuesday, we don't get to watch actual drills, but as we were getting ready for media interviews, guys were walking off the field a little more swagger and a little more pep to their step. And I'm telling you, the 3 weeks before that bye, a lot of guys seem to be dragging themselves off the practice field. So I think they just took the time to rest up, heal up, and hit the ground running this week against Texas Tech.
Is there a specific matchup, a specific, whether it's individual or unit based, that you are keeping your eyes on this week and this Saturday in this huge game?
It goes to the offensive line for BYU against guys like David Bailey, Lee Hunter, Jacob Rodriguez. I can go down the list of all these star front seven guys that Texas Tech boasts. But BYU's offensive line, they've got to be absolutely on point. They've got to keep Bear Bachmeier clean. They got to open holes for guys like LJ Martin and Preston Rex, because if you cannot hold Texas Tech at bay, especially guys like David Bailey, it's going to make for a really, really long afternoon.
What is Texas Tech like if you are going crossing enemy lines and you're helping out Texas Tech? What do they have to take away from Bear Bachmeier to beat them?
Biggest thing is to just make him uncomfortable in the pocket. This kid's unflappable. We've seen it. It's just he doesn't get too high or too low, but you have to make him uncomfortable. Look at the Arizona game, for example. Now, to his credit, he rallied BYU back for that win, but he threw a couple of interceptions, and there were some ill-advised throws, some bad decisions. You've got to force him into those type of decisions, disguise coverages, have David Bailey have him seeing ghosts out there. You've got to force him into uncomfortable situations.
Well, you talked about LJ Martin being, maybe not 100%. Where exactly is he? Because it's a bit of a mystery when you factor in the bye week, which I always enjoy this. You really don't know exactly where he is at. What have you heard about his health?
What I have heard is he's given it a shot this week, and Aaron Roderick said it himself. We are not 100% certain what we're going to get out of him until we get him out there on Saturday. When he dipped his shoulder and got injured against Iowa State, I was fearing the worst. Did he break a collarbone, clavicle? Did he dislocate that shoulder? We don't know what the exact nature of this. We obviously know it's a shoulder, so they've said it's a shoulder injury. But the biggest thing is he is going to brace it up, probably get a couple, painkiller shots in that shoulder, and he's going to give it a go. And the hope is that it holds up. That's the thing. And this kid, I think he understands the magnitude of this game. He's a former Texas Tech commit, so I think he wants to play against this team, speaking of the Red Raiders. So he understands what BYU's chasing right now. And much like guys like Jack Kelly, who also injured a shoulder earlier on the season and is just soldiering on, LJ's kind of following the same path.
You mentioned the fact that, guys kind of playing through pain and playing through injury, and this is that time of year, right? We're coming down the stretch now, and this is where BYU faltered last season. What is different about this team this year that you think it will enable them to get through this at 3-1, right? So this is a team now we're talking about in the college football playoff, more than likely.
Yeah, they do have the mulligans. Yeah, they can lose one game and still very easily find themselves in Arlington. The thing they learned last year, I think, is that when they lost to Kansas, they weren't feeling very good about themselves and let it spill over into that Arizona State game. And they almost rallied to win that game down there in Tempe. It was absolutely wild. Y'all saw the scenes that happened last year with that. What they have said literally since day one of training camp, going all the way back to late July, is they want to go from being good to great. They know they were good a season ago, Pete. They were 11-2. They beat Colorado in that bowl game, but they came like decimal points away from getting into that Big 12 title game. So their whole philosophy is, okay, we know we were good last year, but to be great, We got to be in the Big 12 title game. We've got to chase the college football playoff, and that's what they are seeking to control here. Yeah, they can screw up one game here, whether it's this Texas Tech game, TCU, Cincinnati down the stretch. They can lose one of them. They cannot afford to lose a second.
A lot of people talk about Bear Bachmeier in the offense, and for very good reason. A lot of people are talking about his skills as a guitar player this week for very good reason. He's actually really good. That's, by the way, that's scary. I'm happy I'm older now and I'm engaged. When good-looking dudes who can play quarterback and they're playing guitar too, I'm like, get this guy out of here. Like, what doesn't he have going for him?
Yeah.
But if there's an emotional backbone of this team, right, that we don't know about, that you do know about, who is that person?
I think it's guys like Tanner Wall. And if you know the story of Tanner Wall, he passed on opportunities to play on scholarship at other universities because he loves, I'm telling you, deeply loves BYU. And he walked on, played wide receiver, realized that playing time was not going to be had on the offensive side of the football. Jay Hill says, hey, come try and play safety for me. And all he's become is a fringe all Big 12 candidate, a fringe NFL guy. We'll see what happens with his future. But he puts on for BYU better than almost anybody else on that football team. And I'm not saying other guys don't do it. Chase Roberts does it. I think guys like Bruce Mitchell up front on the offensive line do it. But Tanner Wall's story is a guy who passed on other scholarship opportunities to come and play for the university that he grew up rooting for. He's the heart and soul of what BYU is all about. And when he speaks, guys listen because they know that he's putting on for the Cougars.
Defensively, who is your MVP as right now, as it stands?
I would have to say Jack Kelly. Even though he's had some injuries and whatnot, he has been kind of the backbone of this whole defense. Isaiah Glasser has absorbed a number of hits in his own right, and he's been very good as well. But the way Jack Kelly has played in spite of injuries, his ability to rush the passer, come up with really big-time sacks in key moments of games, shore up the run game when he's been out there, he has been everything BYU needs in terms of just a star linebacker. And while he doesn't look like the prototypical linebacker, that's Isaiah Glasser, who's 6'5", 240. Jack's 6'2", 230, but he is absolutely balled out this season. He's my defensive MVP.
When we look ahead to this game, when you talk about Texas Tech and that lethal defense, do you see BYU and Aaron Roderick doing anything specifically to protect Bear Bachmeier, or outside of just running the football, like what they will do to keep him upright and to keep some of those dogs, like you mentioned, guys like David Bailey at bay?
They'll do something they did early this season, and that's max protect. So Carson Ryan, for example, he's going to have to sacrifice going out on some routes to stay in and protect. The running backs, they may go 2 back sets to make sure they have extra blockers to pick up anybody coming off the edge. They'll go max protect a lot. And that's something they've kind of gone away from the last few games because as Bear's gotten more comfortable in this offense, it needed to do it nearly as much. But with the way that this defense comes after you, they're going to do a lot of max protect. It feels like send maybe 2 or 3 man routes and hope that those guys win those routes.
In what game has Bear felt the most pressure, you think?
I think it's Iowa State. Think about it. You lose LJ Martin the first quarter of that game, Pete, and they were up against it. And all he does is say, okay, put this game on my arm. I think they had 400 and some odd yards total offense. He accounted for 350 plus of those. They put it on his arm. They put that game on Bear Bachmeier, and he responded the way you wanted him to respond as a true freshman who's kind of been brought bit by bit along in this offense. And it finally felt like in Iowa State that he kind of stepped into to the limelight and said, okay, this is what I'm capable of. And there's a lot of pressure, obviously, without a running game to really speak of in that with LJ Martin out. And he just put on for BYU and absolutely owned that game. So, yeah, I think that was the Iowa State game.
Quick basketball real quick before we let you go. What were your thoughts on that win against Villanova on Monday night? I thought it was great to see BYU just kind of step up to the challenge, find a way. What you saw from DeBonsa, obviously, that's great for a first game, but you know more about this stuff than I do. What did you see from the Cougars Monday night that made you feel great?
The fact that they didn't shoot more, they shoot 17 threes, went 5 of 17 from 3. And we're talking, this is a team that Kevin Young, he wants 30 plus 3 attempts. So BYU didn't shoot it well from beyond the arc, and they'll get more attempts up in future games. So that's going to make the offense that much better when they start hitting on those attempts. And also the free throw line, they struggled there as well. So I think that they got a really good stern test from Kevin Willard and the Villanova Wildcats. That Villanova team, they're going to win games simply due to effort this season. They play hard, and I appreciated that they pushed BYU to everything they had in that game. The final 3.5 minutes, if anybody didn't watch that game, go back and watch the final 3.5 minutes and watch the execution that BYU put on in that final stanza, both offensively and defensively. That's the way they won that basketball game, is they said, okay, you know what? enough screwing around. We're winning this ball game right now.
Yeah, they really did. They were clutch down the stretch because there were points where Villanova was right within arm's length. And after that game, A.J. DeBonsa was interviewed, and I thought it was a pretty cool interview because, we haven't seen him interviewed on your post game after a big win, so that was the first time. And he's talking to the TNT crew, and he's pretty honest. I didn't know this about him, Jake. Like, if I have Paul Biancardi on this show last year and we talk about Cooper Flagg, well, he's like, Cooper Flagg is off social media. He doesn't even pay attention to that stuff. AJ's different. And he's like, dude, I'm aware. I see it. I understand it. It's the world I'm living in. What do you make of that? Him as a young man and his consummation of a lot of the stuff around him, right? And there is a lot going on around him, but he seems pretty steady through it all so far.
Yeah, he is hyper aware of social media, and he's all over it. He has all these endorsement deals, Red Bull, Nike. I think it's Uber Eats or something. He's doing stuff. I don't remember who he's doing. He's got big time endorsement contracts. He's been trained his entire life for moments like this. And you're right. A lot of guys would have said, yeah, social media, I'm done with that. Hire somebody to run it for me or something like that. But he's on it. He's active. And it shows that he is a really rare combination of being self-aware of what he is as an athlete and the platform he has, but also not abusing it as well. And I appreciate that about him. He has been nothing short of remarkable so far. He's very, very good with the media by and large, and kid plays ball. And you can tell that his whole life, it's about playing basketball. He wants to make his fortune playing the game he loves, and he understands that the world he's in, it requires that he's active on social media and interacting with the fans. I think he sees guys like Kevin Durant, who he idolizes.
Yes.
Durant goes and, chops it up, whether it's via burner accounts or his own actual account. And I think he realizes, what, there's a balance to all things, and he has struck that balance. And it's remarkable for a kid who's a true freshman.
Yeah, dude. And I think there's something happening. He's almost a point person to look at in the shift with young people and social media and sports, where it's like, 5 years ago, you would worry that a guy wasn't going to D up because if he got beat, he would get dumped on and it would be all over social media. Now it feels like they're a little more accepting of the challenge of social media and stuff. And I think he is the guy that is a poster boy for, I'm approaching this differently, and it's really working for me.
You're right. And as you mentioned, it's kind of the new age, because I'm telling you, a lot of athletes still also playing in professional sports today have not struck that balance very well, if at all. And I think that he has come up in this digital era, and he understands that, it's got to be a part of what I do. And he has yet so far been able to strike that balance.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep it going and see how he does. Jake, man, thank you so much for taking the time. Make sure everybody checks out Locked On Cougars, especially this week. A huge game. And I look forward to BYU finishing strong this year and seeing you in Arlington, pal, in a couple weeks. All right.
That would be the dream come true. Let's see it happen. All right.
All right, Jake. Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
Scotty Swingler back with you live in the Alico building. And that's going to do it for our show today. We hope you enjoyed it so much. Our NFL picks, Joey McGuire, Jake Hatch, as we get ready for a great football weekend here on the Pete Sousa Show. Hey, we'll be back on Monday. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps us out. And thank you to all of our sponsors, but especially Slovachex. If you're traveling this weekend between Dallas and Waco for any reason, pull off in West and check out our friends at Slovachex. Tell Ray the Pete Sousa Show sent you their way. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks so much.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
We are Rogue Media Sports.